What's the biggest disconnect between county leadership and residents?
The biggest disconnect that I see is execution. Implementation, you can do photo ops all day long, but we want to see implementation and be accountable to the residents.
Welcome to Elevate PGC, a podcast dedicated to amplifying the voices of Prince George's County, Maryland, one of the richest Black counties in America, but also one of the most complex. I'm your host, Ashante Trent, multi-million-dollar business strategist, operations leader and native, and current resident of Prince George's County. This platform was created to bring residents and leadership into the same conversation. Today, we have Greg with us today. Greg was raised here in Prince George's County, attending schools like Cheverly, Greenbelt, Fairmont Heights. He earned a bachelor's in agriculture and environment design from Morgan State University. Professionally, he has over 15 years of combined experience in real estate and local government. He's worked in residential development over the last 11 years. He is also the founder of Greg's Viewpoint, a Facebook community with more than 17,000 members, the go-to hub for residents who are following Prince George's County growth and development. Greg, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Why don't you tell the people who you are?
I grew up in Prince George's County, went to Gladstone Spellman Elementary in Cheverly. Shout out to Gladstone Spellman, a Blue Ribbon school when I went there. Greenbelt Middle School, Fairmont Heights High School, and then I graduated in class of 2004 from Fairmont Heights High School, went on to graduate from Morgan State University in class of 2009 with an architecture and environmental degree. To keep it short, I worked for different home builders, Kavnanian Homes, Beezer Homes, but most importantly, those communities were mainly in Capitol Heights, like the villages at Peppermill, the parks at Addison Road Metro, Hamptons at Woodmore, Beach Tree, most importantly. And then I've worked in local governments for the past 11 years as well. I created Greg's Viewpoint because growing up in Prince George's County, you would always hear people have the income. Why we don't have the restaurants, the amenities? I remember it was right when LA Fitness opened in Watkins Park around that time, about 11 years ago. That's when I had that light click. I started blogging in 2014. Then recent years, it just became a blown up. Yeah, it's been a blessing in disguise, needless to say.
I'm a PG County native, born in D.C., raised in Prince George's County, spent about 8 years in Charlottesville, Virginia, came back here after high school, and I basically have been here ever since. About 6 years ago, I moved out Anne Arundel County. I was living there for 6 years, and I recently came back to Prince George's County. I've been here for maybe about 3 or 4 months now. And I'll be honest with you, I was completely shocked. The first thing that I noticed was the amount of litter that is here in Prince George's County. I noticed that the roads are horrific.
Yes.
The trees were overgrown. Almost everything that I needed to do, dining, shopping, just enjoying a good quality of life, I needed to leave the county. I'll never forget me and the girls, we were adjusting. My daughter needed some elbow pads. In order for me to get sports gear, I either had to go back to Anne Arundel County or I have to go to Virginia. So I really started lamenting, to be honest with you. I'm going around to friends. So I started asking, what happened here? How did we get to this point? But more importantly, what are we doing to repair it? I am a solutions-oriented person, especially for the community in which I live in and where I have my life. This is important to me. That's how Elevate PGC was born, because I noticed it was difficult to get a hold of council members. I wanted to be engaged. I said, okay, let me do my part as a resident. Well, I saw that council meetings are every Tuesday at 10 a.m. That's not really the ideal time for people to show up. It was difficult to just find this information. I've lived here my whole life. There were things that haven't changed since 20 years ago. I remember when Landover Mall closed and nothing has been there. They still look exactly the same, and that's not a good thing. There's been no elevation. I wanted to bridge that gap with residents and our executive, make sure that the people's voices are being heard, and then what can we do to take some action steps to help the government deliver on promises, support them, and they support us. Greg, your name came up More than once. Somebody sent me the group. I reached out to you. You said yes. And then I saw you built a space with over 17,000 people engaged in what's happening in Prince George's County. That's huge. What themes or concerns do you hear most from residents for this area?
The main concerns, as you mentioned, the litter, amenities, sometimes the services, economic development, of course. Those are the main concerns that I typically hear.
You have seen PG County from two angles, one as a resident and someone who's worked in planning and zoning for years. How does this dual perspective shape the way you see development here?
That's actually a good question. I think Greg's viewpoint is a great starting point. We have enough people in the county that are concerned, but we need more people who actually want to come up with solutions and be part of the answer, be the change that you want to see.
I can imagine the viewpoint you have as a resident that lives here, but I can also imagine the viewpoint that you have as someone who works closely with a lot of these officials and you're working in real estate. You're in development. You're seeing something we don't get to see. What is that?
From a development standpoint, I think that the county should kind of focus on the inner beltway communities, especially along the Maryland DC line, and then start the development there. Eventually, the development will spur outward outside the beltway. The county also needs to focus on like, what do we want the county to be? In my opinion, like the inside the beltway should be kind of more urban developed near the outer beltway, more suburbia. But then one of my main concerns is that Prince George's County's rural tier is being destroyed by new communities along the 301 corridor from Brandywine all the way up to Bowie. It's kind of almost going against its own development standards. I know that other local municipalities like Hyattsville, College Park are kind of more geared to smart growth development. And I think that overall, the county is more geared towards urban sprawl. What do we want Prince George's County to be in general? Like, do we want it to be a bedroom community, suburban sprawl? What areas do we want it to be in general?
That you ask that question because that's something that I came up with as well as I have been again reacclimating myself to the area. I just was like, who is Prince George's County for? It doesn't feel like we've set the community up for senior citizens or adolescents. There's nothing to do for 30, 40, 50-year-old singles. There's nothing to do if you're married. If you have pets, where are the dog parks? Who is Prince George's County for? Like, we know that, oh, if you want to retire and you don't want to pay taxes and you want your money to go further, Florida is the place to be and Delaware is the place to be, right? Like, these places are known for their demographic. Our demographic is already set. We are majority African American with a median income of 91,000 plus a year, which is 3 times the national average. We have 1 million people that live here in Prince George's County. So we have the number, we have the land, we have the resources. I see lack of development. I see lack of jobs and opportunity. I see a school system that is failing us and has been failing us for a very long time. I hear we have an issue with it's too many townhomes. The single homes are not really affordable. Square footage, it's not that great. Your money can go further somewhere else. I am really trying to understand, how do we get to solutions? I feel like everyone knows what's wrong and how we got here. I'm with you. Who's the visionary? Who do we look to pave the way forward?
I'm gonna speak from a development standpoint. I understand many residents concerned with townhome development, but a lot of these developments were already zoned for townhome development. A lot of them, not saying all of them, and then a lot of them generate tax revenue as well. So, I mean, even if you go to other cities, you see a lot of townhome developments happening everywhere. You can be in Atlanta, you can be in Houston. A lot of the townhome developments were already zoned for townhome developments. From a development standpoint, I don't really worry too much about the schools because I feel like if you have the right development, everything will all fall in place. So I'm not really too big on the schools. As a graduate of Prince George's County Public School, I think that people focus too much on what the public school isn't. When you compare Prince George's County Public Schools to other schools nationally, it makes a big difference. I think that the economic development, if we focus more on that rather than the schools, I think it will all fall in place because one of the big concerns I see is that people have champagne taste on a Kmart budget. not trying to offend anyone, but people want these luxury high-end stores. What do county residents want? Because you say you want this, but when you have this, you don't go there.
I've heard that and I've seen that. I do want to touch on just the schools. So let's separate that because I like both points and where you're going. I have friends, they're in real estate, they do development. The way people buy homes is the quality of living, especially if you have children. As someone who has kids, the first thing I'm looking at is schools. That has always been the reason for why I live in a certain area. I want my kids to have the best education. Who doesn't want their kids to have the best education? My kids have taken advantage of both private and public school. Unfortunately, PG County public schools has not been able to offer us what we feel our kids need. And the choice to put them in private school was because the public schools didn't have anything to offer our kids. I went to public schools here in Prince George's County. They also went to public school in Virginia. The difference between the two is a world of difference. And so for me, you should not need to have to pay for private school in order for your kids to get a good education. Now, I understand the structure of our education system is rooted in something much more bigger than what PG County can dismantle. However, when you notice a gap in your community, you can work around that gap. As a business strategist, like if I can't always get what I want, what's the workaround? How do I still get to the end result? Can we set up some education centers? Can we help entrepreneurs or nonprofits, with grants or scholarships? What are things we can do to supplement the need until we're able to have resources to build up the school systems? I know that's a huge project to take on. But going back to what you said about development, I agree with you that we have to build a community. But if you want people to buy into your homes, families are looking for space, they're looking for quality of life, they're looking for education, they're looking for sports for their kids, food for their kid. Like those are the basic needs of humans. And we can have homes, but without the community, people won't stay. I'm curious to know how many people migrate outside of Prince George's County to live and how many people migrate outside of Prince George's County to spend their money. Because with 1 million people living here with an average medium income of 91,000 plus for majority of the population, where is that money going? Most of my friends say, I got to go to DC, Virginia. The money is being spent. It's just not being spent here. And that's not good business.
Development, from my perspective, is more of a focus than the schools. Not saying that's not a top priority, but if I had to put things in order, I would put development before schools. I would just rank the economic development higher than the schools just personally. Everyone doesn't have children.
Let's go back to who Prince George's County is for. We do have a pretty even base of single household members, family household. We also have a lot of senior citizens. Our county is already established with people living in it. In my perspective, you have to look at your demographic or your target audience, and then you build for them. I see, some assisted living, senior citizen communities. I see townhomes, single family homes. I don't see condos. I don't see multi-unit buildings. You have an inside scoop. Is there limitations on how big these townhomes can be? What goes on behind the scenes when you say something is zoned for a townhome already?
I haven't worked at Prince George's County, but I've interned at Prince George's County back in 2008. In general, from a zoning perspective, there's a lot. Each jurisdiction has different zoning regulations. What I can speak to, working for DC government, what would help Prince George's County government is in DC zoning regulations, they have zoning regulations that limit the square footage of liquor stores, carryout. That might actually be beneficial for Prince George's County. Restrictions on set square footage of liquor stores, carryouts. Because in Prince George's County, I just think that it's crazy that you have a beauty supply store the size of a Circuit City building.
Everything feels small and tight around here since I've been back. Like our malls feel small, our stores feel small. Like
Prince George's County has to identify what do we want Prince George's County to be in general. I love how on the Route 1 corridor, there's a lot of development going on. I think people may want that, but then I think that people actually like where parts of the county feel suburbia, let's say Bowie, Mitchellville. Then some parts of the county feel rural, like Brandywine, Accokeek area or rural. What areas do we want this area to be like a mini downtown? Overall, people may say Prince George's County is still like a bedroom community. You live there and then people go into DC, Virginia to work.
What residents are saying. I want a community where I live. Living in Anne Arundel County, I was in Odenton, maybe about 8 minutes away from Gainbrels. What I loved is that I was nestled in the back with the woods and I still got that suburban life, but I could literally go 8 minutes around the corner and I'm at the Chapel Shopping Center. I could go to Arundel Mall. I could go to Annapolis, that was 20 minutes, Columbia, 20 minutes, Oral, 15 minutes, Glen Burnie, if I wanted to be adventurous. I still was smack dead in between DC and Baltimore, 30 minutes for both, or go down the street and I'm back in Bowie. I have easy access to Glen Largo area. Like that was perfect. That was ideal for me. Now I'm in District 5, which is what they call downtown Largo. They call that Glenarden now. And this is supposed to be the city, and it's not built like any city I have been a part of. If we're going to call it the city, I would love for us to build it up like the city. And
Right.
then you have right around the corner Hyattsville, which is supposed to be the arts districts. It has the bare bones of an art district. I just feel like things need to be elevated, which again brings me to we have good bones, but how do we elevate it? How do we turn it up? And who I think has done a beautiful job of this is Virginia. You have city life and suburban life, really a perfect community, whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you have kids, don't have kids. Northern Virginia has a good example of everything you need inside of a community. And you've worked with Virginia. How do we take what our neighbors have sort of done, adopt it into our own?
There's a lot of things to dissect. Um, Oof. All right. Where do I start? So downtown Largo, that moniker began recent years. So I think the objective is to make it a downtown, and not that it was already a downtown. I think that's the objective. There's a lot of proposed new development happening. I know there's new apartments right at the metro station that recently opened within the past year. Some other projects happening. Working in the city of Falls Church, Virginia, it's like apples and oranges. Like my thing is, we don't need to mimic. Prince George's County doesn't need to mimic anybody, but they can take ideas and use it as a model for future development and growth. Like, let me use the Route 1 corridor in Fairfax County, Alexandria. The Route 450 Annapolis Road corridor from Capitol Plaza all the way down to the Beltway to New Carrollton can almost model that same model. I remember the Route 1 corridor in Virginia, it didn't look like that 10 years ago. They really haven't like displaced people. They've added a lot of new apartment buildings. There's a Chuck E. Cheese. They added a mini town center right outside the Chuck E. Cheese. There's a lot of new infill development. I don't think any people were just displacing that process, just like from if you take Route 450 from Capitol Plaza, there's still development that can happen at Capitol Plaza. If you go down Route 450, the purple line is coming. So there's potential for a lot of infill development, not necessarily displacing people, but just adding more development, mixed-use development. Hyattsville as well. The thing I always say by me working in local city governments, it's imperative and important that local governments play a major role because they advocate for the city residents, the city of Hyattsville, city of Greenbelt, along that Route 1 corridor. The city government advocates for development. They advocate for better services, and they're not solely relying on Prince George's County to make stuff happen. That's why along that corridor, stuff is happening.
So
So
say that one more time. Who's advocating for things to
city
happen?
governments, those city governments are advocating for the city residents. That's why a lot of development is happening along the Route 1 corridor because the city of Hyattsville, the town of Mount Rainier, I think it's the city of Mount Rainier. All those municipalities are advocating for a lot of development along that corridor. That's why a lot of development is happening along that corridor. And recent years as well, too, the town of Fort Washington is trying to become incorporated. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I know they're trying to be incorporated because they see how having a local or town or city government, what impact it does for economic development services, like as far as like litter, as you mentioned.
I did see that there is a budget for litter cleanup of about 800,000. I just thought that that's probably not enough for the size of our county. I understand that there were some budget cuts. I don't think that that's a place to cut corners. However, I also agree that why do we have so much litter? Why do the residents just throw trash, on the street? But then I also noticed that many of the trash cans aren't covered. So I wonder if this is just like a operational inefficiency where maybe we need trash cans that have lids so we can minimize debris being blown out into the street.
I think it's a lot of different dynamics from a work perspective. The first thing I would say is educating people. I know people get tired hearing educate people. Then the litter itself, I wouldn't say it's necessarily just county residents. It's also people just passing through. And then it's a culture that's here that unfortunately part of that culture, I hate to say this, started in DC. And it's just a culture. It's just interesting traveling to other cities and seeing other Black communities, such as Atlanta. I am perplexed that it's a culture here that people are taught. It's also the dynamic of some of the shopping centers like Wilmore Town Center. Sometimes I get frustrated when I see litter. At one point, Wilmore Town Center had people who would walk around, who were paid to walk around, pick up trash. But also, too, people think that, oh, I can throw trash out because they're going to pick it up. Who is they there? Like, it's a whole culture that needs to be erased. People need to be educated. Property managers play a part in it too because they don't have robust system. The county doesn't have a robust system as, let's say, DC. Another thing to add on to that, Prince George's County needs to push out business improvement districts. In DC, I think there are about 13 business improvement districts. Basically, it's the business improvement district are hired people who kind of make sure the streets are clean. I'm in this. My job is in the Southwest Business Improvement District. Speak to people. They pick up trash. They actually plant stuff. They advocate for business to stay. They make sure business are retained. Prince George's County could definitely benefit from that. The first business improvement districts I would like to see in Prince George's County is 3 areas. The Ritchie Station corridor along Ritchie Marble Road would be a great. Oxon Hill Road, that would be a great business improvement district. And I like the Silver Hill Road area corridor because there's a lot of litter, trash. It's just really unacceptable. These litter blitz are cool, but they need just to have a more robust system. And then there's an issue with the state versus county roads, like who's maintaining them. I think the most frustrating thing for me is that when it snows, you see all these Prince George's County vehicles plowing snow. My concern is why aren't those same vehicles putting the same emphasis on them picking up litter? I never see county vehicles picking up litter, but when it snows, they're out plowing the roads. So my thing is, what do they do outside of snow season? Like, they're not responsible for picking up trash. Like, what else do they do?
It's a valid question, and I would love to know the answer. And that's what, again, brought me to Elevate PGC, because I had more questions that I had answers. You really hit it right on the nail when you said it's unacceptable, and it really is. For the taxes that we pay, for the community that we are made up of, for the beauty that this place really is, you can't duplicate what we have here. Prince George's County being in such close proximity to Northern Virginia, DC, and then just everything that you get in Prince George's County. I have a very important question. If you could wave a wand, what's one retail or restaurant concept that you feel would immediately raise the quality of life?
That's an interesting question. The Thompson Hospitality Group is the largest Black-owned restaurant group in America. They actually have a lot of chains under their belt. San Antonio Grill, Matchbox, Milk and Honey. If the county could work with the Thompson Hospitality Group so they can bring more of their restaurants to Prince George's County.
How would Prince George's County go about doing that?
They have the retail convention that's in May, and they go to Las Vegas. But perhaps a restaurant tour, inviting them here and then making the concept grow larger and larger each year. because there's definitely a lot of franchisees here in Prince George's County. Shout out to the tropical smoothie franchise owners.
Love that idea, Greg. That's an amazing out of the box vision, which is what I love because, again, we're just trying to get to solutions and we do want to help. We want to help build a community. This should be a utopia.
Right.
Again, you can't find us anywhere else.
What time then?
Yeah, like why not? Why not? And I do think we have missed opportunities, especially on the development side, where a lot of our extended community down south, opportunities are not there for them. Good quality life is not there for them. What if we tap into a new market, create some real affordable housing? We're able to attract some additional help,
Right.
some additional labor workforce, the new revenue and spending habits. We're bringing the population, up and bringing revenue back in. I would love to see us keep the revenue that we have inside of our community. Now, someone told me that the revenue that Prince George's County produces goes into the big bucket for Maryland. So just because we make the revenue doesn't mean that money comes back into the community. I would love to know what's the accuracy of that statement, because when you consider what's being built in Prince George's County and how it's impacting Maryland as a whole, legalized marijuana. The casino is also in Prince George's County. The National Harbor is in Prince George's County. Are you telling me those resources are not able to come back to us?
As far as casinos, I believe all the casino money goes into a larger Maryland budget. It's not just Prince George's County's budget. Two things. One, a main issue that is bigger than us is a redlining issue. Redlining is an actual serious thing. If you talk to some of the longtime residents here, they'll tell you, I remember I couldn't buy a house in Bowie in the 1970s because as a Black person, I wasn't allowed to live there. People want certain stores, but those stores, let's say Trader Joe's, just throwing out some, they actually have to want to be here. And then once they do decide to be here, they actually have to want to go to the location that you suggest. So there's a lot of different dynamics that play a factor into that. As far as affordable housing is a relative word, are relative words to me. Because what is affordable? Because a lot of times people talk about they want affordable housing, but they want affordable housing, but just not adjacent to their neighborhood because they don't want the isms that come with affordable housing. A great model plan. When I lived in Falls Church, Virginia, when I worked for the city of Falls Church, I lived in an affordable housing unit. There was on the ground floor was a Harris Teeter and it was 286 units. So in the city of Falls Church, all their new development has to have 6% affordable housing. So it was about 23 units in that building. I think that concept works well because it's 6% of the 93% that's affordable. So it's mixed housing. It's a market rate housing mixed with affordable housing. Some of the developments in Prince George's County are all 100% affordable housing. For me personally, I don't really like that concept because I feel like it becomes a modern ghetto 10 years from now. When you have mixed housing, when you have market rate housing mixed with units set aside, that's more beneficial. EYA, they're a builder, developer in D.C., Maryland. They actually developed the original homes at the Arts District in Hinesville. They do a great job at providing affordable housing. Let's just say their townhome developers, they have 24-foot wide townhomes. And then their affordable townhomes are typically like 18 feet. They're narrow, but they're in the development. If we want Prince George's County to be a prototype, go that route. And these new townhome developments offer 24-foot wide townhomes, but also offer 18-foot townhome as affordable townhomes. So it's mixed housing and it's addressing the affordable housing issue. Prince George's County should encourage developers to have mixed housing in their townhome development. So you might have a 24-foot wide townhome, which is market rate townhome. And then you might have 3 18-foot wide townhome in the development that are for affordable housing. EYA, they have done many developments throughout the Washington, D.C. area. And even as mentioned, the Arts District, that's the townhome they were behind. I think that the county can be the catalyst as far as addressing affordable housing. And as mentioned before, a lot of people say they want affordable housing, but they just sometimes they just don't want it in their neighborhood.
I love your perspective. Looking at the demographic that we have here and just based upon what I know and what I've heard, I'm hearing we don't have the credit. We don't have that financial education piece. So we don't always have the credit that allows us to get into the home. Sometimes we have the income, but the debt to income ratio is high, which does not allow us to own. What I'm hearing is that developers are coming in and they're planning for more apartment complexes, or they're building for renters because they know that people can't buy. If that's a real struggle, then what's the workaround? How do we create more apartment style condos? The talk around town is we don't feel like walking up all these stairs for a townhome. That's great for some people, but everybody doesn't want to do that. And I'll be honest with you, I had a 3-level townhouse where my wash machine and dryer were downstairs in my basement with 2 kids. It's not really conducive to my life to go up and down my stairs all day long. When I was looking to buy a home, I'm looking at townhomes that are between 500 to 700,000 price range. I couldn't get over 2,000 square feet. My children are older. Their room size is important. Also, I have family that are older. We do like to come together and fellowship. The first thing my grandmother said is these are a lot of stairs. I'm okay with a 1-level home. And a lot
Right.
of my inner circle are also okay with a 1-level home or okay with an apartment. I have a 16-year-old and a 21-year-old. The youth doesn't really need big homes. They don't even really need townhomes. Can we capitalize on a market here and build more apartment style condos? It doesn't matter if you're a recent college grad, if you're single, if you are a family that just doesn't desire a big home. A big house means more dust bunnies. I don't want that. That's where I feel like we're missing a
Like the
big
middle.
piece of the market.
Right. Yeah. A lot of jurisdictions are addressing that as well. It's called like middle housing. I agree with you too. I would love to see like shotgun houses. They're not big. You kind of see them in like Texas. Like it's like 2,000, 1,500 square feet. It's like 2 floors, detached. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe it's like 5 feet of the yard space before you can touch your neighbor's house. But yes, I agree with you. Housing market is missing, like you said, more apartment style condominium sizes. It's not too big, but it's like maybe 1,100 square feet, 1,200 square feet, where it's functional. The layout is functional.
Build a community where you're serving all of the people that live here. We have a mixed community. Virginia has done a great job of mixing suburban and city life, also capturing what all demographics need to grow and thrive. If I'm running the county like a business, then that's what I'm doing. I'm thinking about my target audience and what my target audience needs to stay, because attached to that person is revenue. Revenue that the county needs, so we don't have to make these shady deals that bring in billions of dollars temporarily, but it's not sustainable. That's what I'm seeing. Whatever we've done in the past has not been sustainable. We can't continue to keep doing the same things. That's not working for us.
Right. I can understand where you're coming from. Yeah, because if you keep doing the same thing over and over, it's called insanity. So I definitely agree with you on that. I'm also big on more different styles of homes being built. The homes that were built in the 90s in the county, the condos, it was just an era of like, you can buy nice condos, like if got loft style condos, and just now the stacked townhomes are cool. But then when you go to other places, there are other style of homes. Like one style of home I like at Wilmore Town Center, Bulk Hill, where they have the neo-tradition, like they're detached single family homes, but they have the rear low 2-car garage. Those homes are not too big. I kind of wish we had more communities like that. There's the parks at Addison Road that are kind of like that, where the rear low garages of the single family. I feel like we're missing that. We need more of those style homes in the market.
If you're familiar with Bowie, there is a community called the Covington. I think they were built back in the maybe. They are condos, but they're townhome style condos. And it's 2 levels, but it's not that many stairs. And it's a nice space. You can get 2 bedroom with a den overlooking the living room. I used to live, was it Dunlorne Court? They are 4 quad homes. It looks like a big 1 level single family home, but it's not. It's quad homes. It was 2 levels. And that was beautiful. It was a community of townhomes on one side and then a cluster of the 4 quad homes. In some of our areas like Suitland, District Heights, Oxon Hill, those areas that really haven't been developed, that needs to be the hub for the affordable housing. They're right by the Beltway. They're right by DC. I'm not saying that's where you start. I'm just saying that's where opportunity is being missed. And if you're going to build downtown Largo like a city, then let's start building it like a city, because the mall across the street is great, but it's tight. It's small, which means that if you invite more people into the city, we're going to quickly outgrow that mall.
The Wilmore Town Center or what was the Boulevard?
Woodmore Town Center, where the Wegmans is at.
Okay.
It's super tight in there. Considering coming from Gainbrills to now coming down here, I have both malls literally in my back door. The first thing I noticed coming into Woodmore Town Center, this is small. There's only one restaurant that I'm going to eat at, and that's Copper Canyon Grill. I'm sorry. I'm not eating at Jasper's. I'm not eating at Outback. I'm not eating at Fridays. I might go to Longhorn. I'm not really a steak person, so it's just not my jam. But Copper Canyon Grill is about the only place I'm eating at around here. As a city, that's not sustainable.
Right. It's not sustainable. Getting residents to want to go to those restaurants is a concern. Then there's the concern of people saying that there's nothing in their neighborhood, but then there is stuff in their neighborhood. They just choose not to go to stuff in their neighborhood. How often do you go to Tanger outlets? There's plenty of stores there. I think people just want those stores in every pocket of county, and it doesn't work like that. Somebody said there's no Harris Teeter in Prince George's County. I've kind of compiled a list of those stores, like the Harris Teeters in Laurel and Bowie, and then the Trader Joe's and the Whole Foods are on the Route 1 corridor, and then of course Wegmans is in your backyard.
Well, I will say this. I'm not going to travel to Laurel just to go to the grocery store, especially with the traffic that we have around here. I went to Tanger outlets. I really just don't feel like they did a great job with the stores that are there. I'm thinking of an abundance of places I want to shop at. Like Rundle Mall has done a great job of a combination of smaller retail stores and restaurants and eateries. Other outlets that I've been to, even when I'm traveling out of state, it's a better design flow.
My concern is the connectivity with the National Harbor. There's the downtown, then there's the MGM, and then there's the outlets. I feel like the Peterson companies, that's who developed the National Harbor, they need to create a connectivity. All those nodes need to be connected to feel like it's one development. And for some people, it may feel like it's 3 separate developments. And then if you include Top Golf, it feels like all of that development, it needs to feel all connected. It literally, someone out of town may feel like it's 3 or 4 separate different entities, developments going on.
And that brought me to, it feels like a lot of macro living, but no micro living. I love the fact that you say connectivity. How can we bridge this all together? Because it does feel super disconnected. Look, Greg, we could be here all day. It sounds like me and you. So I'm going to ask you, what's the biggest disconnect between county leadership and residents? From your point of view, you have 17,000 followers in your Facebook community. You are native, your boots on the ground. Where is the biggest disconnect that you see?
The biggest disconnect that I see is execution. Implementation, you can do photo ops all day long, but we want to see implementation, make it happen. People voted for these individuals to be in office. People want to see it actually happen. Be accountable to the residents, be accountable in general. Let's just take Westphalia Town Center. The residents that live there want county officials to be accountable. I'm sure that some tax incentives were provided to spur the town center development. The town center has not happened. I'm not sure if it ever will happen. We're going to be optimistic and say that it's going to happen. But if there were incentives provided, the county needs to grab those tax incentives back because it's like they're not standing on business. Development should be halted at West Philly Town Center until the town center is delivered. Until like 80% of the stores have signed stop allowing the developers to build townhouses. From my understanding, it's different developers that own different parcels of lands. From my understanding, county residents want to see accountability and execution. There's a lot of talk. People just want to see implementation. That's what people want to get excited for. Get the county roads clean, a more robust system for litter control, educating people. People live here for a reason. People just want to see growth, accountability in general. I'm growing up in Prince George's County, I'm just excited. It's a great place to live, not just for the Black excellence, but just the convenience to DC, the federal government, access to 3 airports. I'm grateful and so thankful for all the 17,000 agents in Greg's Viewpoint. My website is www.gregsviewpoint.com. And I'm appreciative for the opportunity to speak with you, Ashanti.
I appreciate you coming, Greg. You wanted to bridge the gap between residents and what was happening in the city. I wanted to make sure that our voices were heard. If you know anyone that has anything impactful to say, I would love for them to be
Right.
heard because we want council members to hear us. We
Right.
don't want something like logistics of the time and when we can be heard to get things done. We do need
Right.
accountability. We do need action. But at the most importantly, we have to listen to the people that live here. Thank you so much
Yes.
for lending your voice today. This was Elevate PGC. Until next time, we are together in unity. Thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.